Well, good day, everyone, and men and women and kinds out there in the interwebs. One quick word I kind of want to go over with some people in their thinking. Maybe it'll lessen the confusion of the word sovereign. Okay. Some people will say, "Oh, I know what that is." They know a bad side and a good side to it. But I'm going to give you a more depth description of it in the foundations of the documents of We the People, and what the discussions was around Constitution and the formation of it, and how words in definition were not to be in meanings being directed into the articles of Constitution and declarations. One of those words was to just not include sovereignty. It was mentioned about the word sovereignty, but it was never assigned, because the definition, according to Hamilton and Jefferson and everybody else that was sitting in the room while they're discussing all these matters on how we were going to word our free Constitution and our Declaration from the opposing force over there. So they are sovereign. They were known as sovereign, the king. Sovereign is the final power and the final say-so in matters, which means it's the end. The judge, the jury, the execution, the sentence, whatever. Everything involved in a sovereign rule of a king. So in the formation of the Declaration of Independence of We the People, reserve the right in our Constitution based on these premises of sovereign. And the simple lack of people's perception of it is sovereign rights to be handed to a government office is a no-no, according to the founders. Legally, in the ultimate laws and the constitutions and the understandings in that, was that no single person, no single office, none of that could be included in a sovereign situation, which means that they don't have the ultimate power over the other. It has to be decided amongst the free will of the people. So it was excluded. And in an easy table, the way people should look at it is yes, we have an outlet, which is called government. That's your outlet. That's where you go down and get your outlet to what the laws can be defined in the Supreme Court, because that's the next step. Above the Supreme Court, we exclusively hold the right as the citizens of the United States over all of those powers, and we have the power of decision over these matters. It's not to be confused. The people of the United States don't hold sovereign power. The Supreme Court doesn't have sovereign power, and the government absolutely does not have this power. what it amounts to is that's the servants in the public office. They are the servants. They essentially work for the constitutional laws and uphold those laws. That's why they take an oath to be able to hold office or work for the office of public affairs of we the people. And we have the Supreme Court laws that they have to follow. The arbitrary accusations and arbitrary things that get decided on by the people, which means arbitrary means not described by law, or it's just an idea or possibilities. We leave the possibilities on the table to invoke change when it affects we the people. We hold the Supreme Court under that, and then below that we hold public office and public service, and anybody who works for the government, works for public office, they're in a servitude. But there is no sovereignty. Sovereignty is something that comes from a king or a queen, where the judge and the trial and the executioner all live in the same room. And that was banned in the Constitution by law. It was argued over the points by this one and that one to decide, but ultimately it was to decide that there should be no sovereignty of the people. It's our country. We decide in the legal terms of our Constitution. That's why we signed it, and we have it, what the rules were going to be and how the rules were going to stay, and we invoked the power of government to enforce these rules, not to have sovereignty. The division of powers, essentially, which holds the President of the United States and his administration as the biggest, most important civilian, however, and our office is our spokesperson. So they have separation of power of the people and their representative. Then comes down to the Supreme Court, then comes down to the government. Separation of power. No sovereignty was ever granted inside of any of the United States Constitution. There's not the word sovereign doesn't apply to a United States citizen, see, or a United States government, or a United States Supreme Court. Sovereignty doesn't belong to anybody. It was reserved in the Constitution for us, we the people, to be able to fix it, essentially. So in legal beliefs and knowledge is to understand that anything outside of the written United States Constitution has to resort back to we the people. And then that's where you get the president. He's a voice for the people. He says, well, we've got an idea, we want to do this. He passes the bill before Congress and the senators, and everybody agrees on it, and it gets signed into what? Constitutional law. It's the law of the land. We the people hold that power in our hands. Whether we choose to use that power in good ways or bad ways, we reserve the right. So sovereign is not any part of any constitution or founders' laws or any of that. It was discussed previous and during the writings of the original constitutional laws of the people. It was discussed, but it was redacted from the Dictionary of Constitution in favor of the United States citizens. We the people, we held that power We hold the power. We don't hold a king nor a queen. We don't have a sovereign dynasty inside our free country and our nation. And that's my definition of sovereign. I hope maybe somebody got something out of that little spiel, but until I come up with the next word, Zombie Force out.